This conference will now be recorded.
So we are in day 15 session, continue with the exception handling practical part. Uh, Welcome to Learner's Talk. So as we discussed yesterday, theoretically, what do we mean by exception? Why exception occurs? What type of exceptions you have? When you handle the exceptions, what are the advantages? Everything, each and every point we discussed. And now practically, I wanted to show you how can we handle these things programmatically. As I said, we are going to use these 5 keywords: try, catch, finally, throws, and then throw. So one by one keyword, okay, programmatically I wanted to show you so that you can understand. So first, using try block, okay, what we can do, okay, what is the purpose of using try block? So very simple. First, I will show you one program without handling the exceptions. Then try to understand the problem from that program. And I will try to apply the exception. I will try to handle the exceptions using these keywords so that you can easily observe the difference. Okay, without handling and with handling. Okay, so just come back to here. Let me try to, one second. Already I have a package which we have. One second, let me try to delete this. Okay, let me try to delete this, and I'll try to create one more class with the same name as what test1 under com.jsc.exceptions. New, take the class as what test1, So to read the input from the keyboard, usually we are using scanner class. Inside the scanner class, we have different methods are there to read different data. So, but that scanner class is available inside the util package. You have to import that. Okay. So you just define the main method. Okay. Try to create the object for scanner class, since I wanted to pass the input from the keyboard. So in this way, you have to create the object. Control Shift O is for importing java.util.scanner. Save this. And once it is done, system.out.println, enter first number. Okay, enter first number. So let me save this. So s dot, to read this integer type, we have a method is there inside the scanner class. That method name is a next int method. In the same manner, I am asking one more number also from the end user. Enter second number. So int y equals to s dot next int. So because why we are storing these things inside the variables of integer type, because of next int method return type is integer only. So if any method is returning any value, whenever you are calling, that result you can store in any variable of the same type. That is what we are doing. Okay. So now after you convert, or else after you read the data from the keyword, these two integer values, try to perform the division. Int z equals to x by y. System.out.println of, here division is plus of, okay, z. Let me save this. And after this also, we are going to pass rest of the statements executed. Simply I am writing one few SOP statements or any Java executable statements, just for understanding. For the sake of understanding, I am adding these couple of statements. If you are observing inside this test one, it's a very clean and it's a very clean program, right? If I run this application, okay, you can pass this first number as 100 and the second number as what, 20. So then we are getting this division, and the rest of the statements also will be executed. That's fine, because as I said, exceptions are happening, or exceptions occurs when you are passing invalid input. But whatever the data you are passing right now, that is valid data. So when you are passing valid data, JVM won't give you any trouble, any exception. So now we'll try to understand. For example, if I'm passing 100, if I'm passing second number as 0, so passing the 0 as a denominator is invalid. If this is the case, JVM will give you one system error message or exception, runtime error. When you pass this, you will get, you see in the console, if you are observing, java.lang.arithmetic exception colon divide by 0. Okay, so and moreover, exception is occurring at the 17th line, and the remaining statements will not be executed. Wherever the problem occurs while it is executing, from the statement itself, okay, from that particular statement itself, control terminated abnormally. If control terminated abnormally, remaining statements will not be executed. That is the biggest drawback. Okay, and one more thing is, if you are observing the result in the console, okay, this message is what we call, system error message. But these system error messages are not at all encouraged, because of these messages are not understandable by end users who are going to use your product in the market. That is the reason, you have to convert this message into user friendly message, so that even though end user, okay, made any issue or any problem, by seeing or by reading that user friendly message, they can able to understand, they can realize actually what kind of mistake they did. That is the reason you have to convert this message into user friendly message by handling the exceptions. So these are the problems. So if you are not handling the exception, now I will try to explain you how can we handle these exceptions. The same program I'll try to handle the exceptions using those keywords which I said. So first keyword is what's a try. So try is a block, right? So what do you mean by block? If anything in between open curly braces and then closure curly braces, that is usually we can call it as what? Block. So what kind of block it is? It is an instance block. So if I'm mentioning static, static block. If I mention try, it is a try block, like that. Okay. So block means what? Anything which is in between open curly braces and then closure curly braces, that is what we call, block. Since this block is preceded with try, obviously we can consider this one as what? Try block. So why we are using this try block? What is the purpose of try block? Of course, we are handling the exceptions. That is the major purpose. But especially, okay, what is the basic or specific purpose of try block? It is used to keep the problematic statements which causes problems at runtime. So whatever the problematic statements are there, those statements are causing the errors at runtime. Such kind of problematic statements you have to keep inside the try block. So why we are getting the error here, sir? Why we are getting the error here? Because of your passing the invalid input. Because of your passing the invalid input. So where is the code to pass the invalid input? This entire code is the, okay, is eligible for what? Creating the problematic statements. So that is the reason, since we are passing the data from the end user, so such kind of logic is this only. That is the reason I supposed to keep this entire stuff inside the try block. So if you are keeping this try block, try, okay, so up to here I am performing, save it. Okay, immediately we are getting the error. So why? Because whenever you are keeping the problematic statement inside the try block, immediately it is expecting the catch block to catch that exception. Sir, whether you remember or not, when I run this application by passing the invalid data, we got java.lang.arithmetic exception. So that means you have to handle the exception. So if yes, we are handling the exception by keeping the problematic statements inside the try block, but immediately try block is expecting the catch block. Why it is expecting the catch block? Catch block is used to, why we are using? To catch the exception, to catch the specific exception. Okay, specific exception, and provides a user friendly message, and provides what, sir? User friendly message. This is the basic usage of what, sir? Catch block. So if you are observing the syntax, catch of, here exception class name you have to provide, and followed by any variable name, reference variable name you have to provide, and then followed by here you are going to provide the user friendly message. Just maintain the syntax in your brain, and while you are implementing the code, try to like what, apply the same syntax. So which exception we got? Arithmetic exception, mention that, and then followed by any variable name, because of we are not creating the object for the arithmetic exception, because of since it is a predefined exception class, JVM will create the object. So as we said, so immediately after try block, since it is giving you arithmetic exception, try to give the, follow the naming convention, because of every exception internally it is a class only. A is capital, E is capital. This class is available inside the java.lang package. Not only all the exceptions are available in the java.lang package, different exception classes are available inside the different packages. Okay, so you just give any variable name and provide the any user friendly message, relative message. Okay, don't enter 0 as a denominator. Let me save this. If I run this application, again I am asking 100 I am passing, 0 I am passing. But right now I am not getting any system error message. I am getting what? User friendly message, and remaining statements also executed. So even though exception, even though you are passing any invalid data, since you are handling the exception, okay, control will not be terminated abnormally, and it continues to execute remaining statements also. This is the benefit. So this is how exactly practically it got proved. Right, you may ask one question, sir. Right now, whenever I'm passing 0 as a denominator, so control comes from this particular statement, 17th line to catch block, okay, and then it will execute, and then it continues to execute. So, right, that means whenever the problem occurs at the 17th line, because of I'm passing 0 as a denominator, control will not be terminated abnormally, but control, okay, will move from this particular line to, okay, since it is in try block, control will move from 17th line to corresponding appropriate nearby catch block. What is the nearby appropriate catch block for this particular invalid data? Nearby appropriate catch block is arithmetic exception only. So that is the reason control comes from try block to this catch block, and this will be executed, and it continues to execute remaining statement. Yes, if you are asking one more question, sir, once control comes from the try block to catch block, is it possible to move back from catch block to try block? It is not at all possible. Once the control is coming from try block to catch block, control will never go back. Control will move forward only to execute the remaining statement. This point also you try to understand and then remember. Okay, so this is how exactly you need to handle the exception. Yes, now if I run this application, if I'm passing 100, sorry, if I'm passing 100, if I'm passing ABC, sir, to perform any arithmetic operation, you should pass only numeric values. How can you pass alphabets values? If you are trying to pass like that, this is also giving you, one kind of another invalid data. If I'm passing again, I'm getting the problem, but this time it is not giving you arithmetic exception. This time it is giving you input mismatch exception. That means, so to handle this particular invalid data, you are going to define one more catch block. What is this? Tell me. Input mismatch exception. Okay, IME or anything, just it's a variable only. Okay, please pass only numeric values. That's it. Please pass only numeric values. When I try to run this, okay, when I try to run this, if I'm passing 100, if I'm passing ABC, now this particular catch block will be executed. Okay, that means to handle this particular invalid data, control will go to the nearby appropriate catch block. That is the reason control will not move to this catch block. It will go to like what this catch block, and this will be executed and continues to execute the rest of the statement. In this way, for a single try block, we can define multiple catch blocks. Based on the invalid input, corresponding catch blocks are going to be executed. Even though we have a multiple catch blocks, at a time only one catch block will be executed. Hope you all understood, right? So now, once it is done, I wanted to tell you, because whatever the errors we are getting right now, all these are the programmatical errors, logical, programmatical, invalid input errors. So obviously I can consider these exceptions are what kind of exceptions? Tell me. Synchronous exceptions or asynchronous exceptions? Of course, these are the synchronous exceptions. Synchronous exceptions. Especially these are the synchronous unchecked exceptions. Sir, you may ask one question, sir, how can you say these are the unchecked exceptions? Very simple. You can easily remember, for the unchecked exceptions, the superclass is runtime exception. And moreover, okay, these are going to be checked by not Java compiler. These exceptions are going to be checked by JVM itself, and that too at runtime. For example, if you consider like file not found exception, okay, this exception is the one which can be checked by Java compiler only. Okay, for example, if you go for what IO exception, this exception also can be checked by Java compiler only at compile time to escape from the runtime errors itself. Few exceptions are there which are checked by Java compiler. Okay, but few exceptions are really checked by JVM only at runtime. So all such kind of exceptions are unchecked exceptions. I am giving you the definition. Synchronous. Okay, since synchronous exceptions categorized into two types. One is a checked exception, another one is a unchecked exception. Unchecked exceptions are checked by JVM only. Okay, are checked by JVM only at runtime. And for these all synchronous unchecked exceptions, immediate superclass is what? Runtime exception. For all the checked exceptions, meaning that checked exceptions are checked by Java compiler. Okay, to escape from again runtime errors only. To escape from runtime errors only. What kind of exceptions can you please tell me? File not found exception. Okay, file not found exception. IO exception. Okay, so like this class not found exception. Okay, like this, so many are there. SQL exception. Like this, so many are there. So many checked exceptions are there. For these checked exceptions, who is the immediate super class? Exception. Okay, exception. Of course, for unchecked exceptions also, superclass is exception only, but immediate superclass is runtime exception. For all these exceptions, who is acting as a superclass? Throwable. That I told you already in the yesterday session. So, and why you need to understand the regarding with respect to superclasses? When you are understanding which class is acting as a superclass for which one, you can easily understand the hierarchy. Okay, in between parent to child, what methods we are able to access, all these things you will get an idea. That is the reason I am telling you. Right, you may not understand, sir. You are telling checked exceptions are checked by Java compiler to escape from runtime. What is that? What do you mean by checking by the Java compiler, checking by the JVM? What exactly it is? So very simple, sir. So for example, I am trying to like what read the data. Okay, I am trying to like what read the data from the file. So of course we have a files concept is there in Java. In further, at that time you will understand. But usually on top of the files you can perform read operation and then write operation, meaning that you can access the data from the file, you can retrieve, you can insert the data into the file. For example, you are trying to read the data or you are trying to access the data from the file. You mentioned the file, but unfortunately if the file was not there, come on please, unfortunately if the file was not there, at runtime are we getting an error or not? Obviously we are getting the error. So but before, okay, it is happening at runtime. Okay, at compile time only, if Java compiler will cross check this particular, if the file is available or not, obviously we are escaping from that kind of runtime errors or not. So that is the reason. Okay, few exceptions are there. So those are going to be checked by Java compiler only, so that we can easily, okay, cross check before only without getting the runtime errors. So I can tell you some more analysis also, but that is okay. So only thing is you need to understand which one is which exception, which one is unchecked exception, which one is the checked exception. You need to understand. Always checked exceptions are checked by Java compiler. Okay, always unchecked exceptions are checked by JVM only. Okay, whatever the program I told you here, all the exceptions are unchecked exceptions. So if these are unchecked exceptions, who is acting as a immediate superclass? Who is acting as immediate superclass? Tell me. Runtime exception. Sir, if runtime exception is the parent class for this arithmetic exception, for this input mismatch exception, if these catch blocks only are handling the specific invalid data, obviously this parent class also can handle, na? This parent class also can handle, na? Right. So for example, sir, if I'm mentioning catch of runtime exception RE. Okay, here system.out.println of RE. I'm just displaying you the object itself. Why we are getting the error, sir? In the 28th, 27th line, 20, 31 line, these two catch blocks are giving you the error. Sir, why, sir? For example, if I run this application by passing 100 and then 0, okay, control goes to corresponding appropriate nearby catch block. So, sir, runtime exception can handle that invalid data. Why? Because of runtime exception is the parent class, na? Runtime exception is the parent class for all the unchecked exception. Since it is giving you the arithmetic exception also can handle, but runtime exception also can handle, because of runtime exception is the super class. So if this catch block can be handled by your, if this catch block can handle your invalid input, then why this catch block, sir? Why this catch block? So that is the reason this is going to be unreachable catch block. This catch block is the unreachable for the Java compiler, because of whatever the input, whatever the invalid input you are passing, that is going to be handled by this catch block only. I told you whenever the problem occurs, control will be moved from try block to appropriate nearby catch block. What is the appropriate nearby catch block? These are this. Only this only. If subclasses can handle, obviously parent class also can handle. That is the reason if you are doing like this, you are getting the error. Remaining specific catch blocks are giving you the error saying that it is a unreachable code for the Java compiler. Sir, if you are cutting this, if you are keeping this, then it won't give you any error. Why? Because sir, now you are running this application. Now you are running this application. Okay, 100 and then 0 you are passing. 100 and then 0 you are passing. Again, control will never go to like what this one. Control will go to the nearby appropriate catch block. Okay, that is the reason control will goes to here and the catch block will be executed and continues to remaining statements. And what is the conclusion I am telling you? While you are handling the exceptions, okay, the order always must be from specific exceptions to general exception, not from general to specific. If you mention like general to specific, the remaining specific exception catch blocks are unreachable for the Java compiler. Okay, so order is very, very important. What is the order? Tell me. While we are handling the exceptions, come on, please. While we are handling the exceptions, we have to maintain the order, sir. We have to maintain the order. Okay, from where to where? Tell me. From specific to general or general to specific? Specific to general. Specific to general. Then only it is possible. Otherwise, we are getting what? Otherwise, what will happen? Tell me. Otherwise, we will get compile time error. We will get compile time error saying that unreachable code, unreachable catch block. Okay, unreachable catch block. Because of that code is not reachable by the compiler itself. That is what it is conveying. Excuse me. So in this way, we can able to like what understand this order while you are handling the exceptions. Okay. So you may ask one question, sir. If everything is going to be handled by this parent class, then why you are defining this specific exception catch blocks? Very simple, sir. It's a very reasonable question for every learner. So if that is the case, yes, for every invalidness, for every invalid data, so one catch block of parent class can handle perfectly. There is no doubt at all. But if you are giving here, okay, for example, don't enter 0 as a denominator. This message I am passing, sir. Save it. Okay, this message I am passing. If I run this, okay, I am passing first number as 100, second number as 0. Perfectly it will work, sir. Control goes to this catch block and this message will come and it will execute the remaining statements. See here, exactly it is happening same. For example, now if I am running, okay, enter first number as 100, enter second number of ABC. This time also control goes to this catch block only. Okay, but when I try to run this, 100 and then ABC, if I run this again, since this catch block only will be executed, but this message only we are getting, don't enter 0 as a denominator. I did not enter 0 as a denominator, sir. I am passing ABC as the second input. But what kind of message you are expecting? You are expecting please pass only numeric values. But why it is not coming? Because of we are not defining any specific catch blocks. So by mentioning the super class, you can't specify. You can't specify. I mean, you are not able to like what provide the specific user friendly message for the specific invalid input. So I think that also we can do it, sir. So we have an option. So here, if RE instance of arithmetic exception, okay, instance of operator is there, sir, which is used to instance of operator is used to check the type of the instance. If RE is an instance of arithmetic exception, system.out.println of don't enter 0 as a denominator. Okay, don't enter as a denominator. And again one more if block, as many as you want, you can mention it, not a problem. If RE instance of what is that? Input mismatch exception, right? Input mismatch exception. Okay, input mismatch. Oh my god, input mismatch exception. Yeah, here it is there. System.out.println of please pass only numerics. Okay, let me save this and then I will cross check it once. Here, when I try to run this, proceed, enter first number 100, 0. Now see here, don't enter 0 as a denominator, it is coming and it will execute the rest of the statements. So that means this particular if block gets executed inside this catch block. And if I run one more time, by passing one more invalid input 100 and then ABC. Okay, when I'm passing, please pass only numerics. So that means every time once the control comes to this catch block, every time this RE is I mean internally JVM is creating the object like this, RE equals to new arithmetic exception when you are passing 0 as a denominator. If you are passing second input or first input as a alphabet, it is creating which object like this. This statements will be created or objects will be created by the JVM only. So storing the child class object inside the parent class reference variable, runtime polymorphism. Okay. So in this way also we can able to like what handle itself. So I hope you got the point. So in this way we are able to like what handle by defining the multiple catch block or by mentioning the parent class and followed by like what checking the type of that object, whether it is arithmetic exception type or input mismatch exception type. Accordingly we are able to provide the user friendly messages also. So different ways are there. Okay, so let me copy this program and here I'm giving you here the example stuff. Okay, here instance of operator I am using, sir, just to instance of operator is here instance of operator is used to check the type of instance. Okay, check the type of instance. Okay, let me save this. So if you are not understanding, see, if you are not understanding why the error is coming here, let me save this. Okay, this is not, we don't require that. Okay, if you are not understanding regarding the instance of operator, I can tell you very simple. I can give you one test2 class here. Okay, you just observe here, define the main method, save it, test2 obj. Okay, test2 obj equals to, for the sake of your understanding I am giving you, sir, system.out. Okay, test2 obj2 equals to new test2 itself, save it here obj1. Okay, now system.out.println of obj1 instance of, okay, test1. So tell me here, whatever the obj1 you created, sorry, whatever the obj1 you have created, so this is an object of which type, tell me? Test2 itself. I am just checking, sir, I am just checking. So obj1, okay, obj1, let me save this. We are getting the error here, 1 second, 1 second please. If RE instance of arithmetic exception, if obj1 instance of, okay, sorry, here it is test2, sir, sorry. Yeah, so obj1 is the what, so obj1 is an object of test2, so obviously obj1 is the test2 type. So now I am checking that only, obj1 is an object of test2 or not. So to check the type of the object, whether it is the same type or different type, so we have to thoroughly cross check it like this. So if, since it obj1 is a test2 type, obviously when you run this it will give you the true. Okay, if it is not, it will give you what? False. For example, if I'm giving, of course, you tell me, if I'm passing like object, what it will give you, tell me? What it will give you? This time also it will give you true, because of every class is a subclass of what? Object class itself. For example, here, if I'm passing array list, if I'm passing array list, let me save this. Control Shift O is for importing this array list. Okay, why this is coming? Yes, incompatible conditional operand types. Huh? Okay, so this is not possible here. Okay, but ultimately my point is here, to cross check the type of the object, we are going to like what, use the instance of operator. So when it is giving you, for example, this time test2 obj, if I'm having any parent class or child class, then I can show you, but this time it was not there. Test1, I'm creating obj2 equal to, since one more class is there in our package, so I am creating the object for the test1. So system.out.println of obj2 is an instance of test2. If I am giving save it, immediately we are getting the compile time error only. Why we are getting the compile time error? Incompatible conditional types test1. There is a no relation in between test1 and then test2. That is the reason it was saying what, for example, if I am using extends test1, save it. So now the error is gone, but you have created an object of obj2. You have created an object of what? Obj2 is an object of test1. Now I am cross checking obj2 is an instance of test2 or not. Okay, when I try to run this, you will get false. So why we are getting the false? Because of obj2 is an object of test1, but you are checking obj2 whether you are just checking obj2 is an instance of test2 or not. No sir, it is not the instance of test2. Obj2 is an instance of test1. That is the reason we are getting what? False. So in this way we can cross check. So in that way instance of operator is very helping for us. Okay, so let me copy this example also, come back to here. Okay, example, control V, save it. So now coming back after this, so as part of the explanation, I have got the chance to like what I explain this instance of operator. Otherwise, people will only struck with that particular instance of operator only. All right, sir. So now these are all like miscellaneous concepts. So as part of the explanation, we'll get a chance to like what explain these concepts. That's not a problem. Okay, we have done with the try block and then catch block. We have done with the try block and the catch block. And finally, next one is what? Finally block. So why we are using finally block? Finally block is used to keep what kind of statements? Closing related logic. Closing related logic we have to keep. So for that reason we are using what? Finally block. Yes, you may ask one question, sir, why should we keep closing related logic inside the finally block? That is the first question actually whenever anybody said something like this. So very simple. For example, I have some code is there. I have some code, 1,000 lines of code is there, assume. So in the third line, I open the file. Okay, opening the file logic is there, assume. Opening the file logic is there. But here int x equals to 100/0 or any exception related statement is there, assume. Okay. So when it is executing this program, third line executed, that means file got opened. Fourth line opened, fifth line opened, fifth line executed. Whenever the fifth line executed, control terminated abnormally. When the control got terminated abnormally, okay, remaining statements will not be executed. If remaining statements will not be executed, by that time file got opened, right? Already third line got executed successfully. So that means what? File got opened. If the file is in open, if you are not closing, there is a possibility of getting the data leakage issue. There might be a chance to get the data leakage issue. Okay, if the file is in open mode. So if so, that is the reason. Okay, that is the reason. Even though I mean you're keeping closing the logic is available in somewhere in the last line. Assume the logic is available, closing the logic is available in the last line, but still this logic will not be executed. Why? Because of you are not keeping this inside the finally block. Sir, if you are keeping inside the finally block this particular closing logic, for example, if I am keeping inside the finally block, okay, now exception occurs. Still, even though exception occurs, this finally block will be executed. Okay, but you are passing valid data. Still, the finally block will be executed. So that means what? Whether exception is occurring or not, irrespective of any case, whatever the logic, that means closing related logic, you are keeping inside the finally block, that is always getting executed. If always it is getting executed, obviously file will be closed. If file will be closed, there is no chance of getting the data leakage issue. There is no chance of getting the data leakage issue. That is the reason. Okay, finally block, 99% we people are using this finally block to keep the closing related logic, whether it might be closing the file, whether it might be closing the database connection, anything closing related, relinquish the resources, closing related logic to keep, we are going to use finally block. Practically I can't show you right now because of we did not finish with respect to JDBC and as well as what files. Simply one SOP message I am writing and I wanted to show you whether it is executing in both ways. I mean in positive scenario, in negative scenario, whether it is getting executed or not, just by seeing the program, understand. Okay, come back to here, come to the test one. Now after try catch, now finally block I am defining. Inside the finally block, system.out.println, I am finally block, okay, always gets executed. I am finally block gets executed always. Simply one SOP message I am writing. Okay, try to run this application. Enter first number 100 and then okay, and 100 and then 20. This is a valid data. When I am passing valid data, okay, division we are getting, finally block executed, rest of the statements executed as usual. Now if I run this application with some invalid data, 100 I am passing, okay, 0 I am passing. See here whether if you are observing the, okay, don't enter 0 as a denominator. That means corresponding catch block or else that if block will be executed. Finally block also executed. Rest of the statements also executed. That means finally block is going to be executed in both positive scenario and a negative scenario, both for valid data, for invalid data. So why? Because since we are usually keeping closing related logic inside the finally block, because of doing or keeping such kind of logic inside the finally block, we might definitely escape from what? Data leakage issue. Data leakage issue. So that is how exactly finally block is useful for us while we are handling the exceptions itself. Okay. So and one more point I wanted to tell you regarding after try catch we define. Okay. Immediately after this, let me cut this. Okay. Can I keep this? Okay. Can I keep this? Yes. So if I'm removing this control shift forward slash, control shift backward slash, okay, forward slash. Now you see only try with finally is possible. Yes, it is possible. Only try with finally also is possible. If I run this application, enter first number 100. Okay, don't enter the negative scenario this time. Okay, because of I'm not enabling the catch blocks. If I'm passing positive data, I mean valid data. If I'm entering, okay, now I'm getting the division and as well as what? Finally block gets executed. So try with finally is possible or not possible? Yes, it is possible. Very, very important, sir. So try with the, okay, only final, okay, only finally without catch block is possible or not possible? Yes, it is possible. Is possible. Okay, try with finally along with the catch also fine. Okay, along with catch also fine, but make sure, okay, in between try and catch, we should not add finally after try block. Okay, always it is expecting what? Okay, catch block only if it is there, if it is there. I hope you understand. So this is also you need to understand, very, very careful. I mean very, very important points. Try with only finally is fine, try with catch and finally is also fine, but this catch must be what? Control shift F, sorry, 1 second. Control shift F, control shift F, 1 second. What is happening? 1 second. Okay, try is there. Okay, already it was there now. Okay, fine. Let me remove this. So if I am always try with catch finally is also fine, but after try catch should be there. In between try and catch you are not allowed to like what? Define the finally block. All these are the design level issues. You have to follow the principles, design level, how they have designed these things. In the same manner you have to follow, otherwise it will not work. You will get the compile time error. After try block I want to define the finally block, and after that I want to define the catch block. If you are trying to define that, immediately you will get the compile time error. So just try alone try and finally, that is also fine. But if you are defining catch block, it should be inside, it should be that this finally should be after catch block. So hope these points you need to understand. Okay, so this is all about what? This is all about what? Finally block. This is all about what? Finally block. Okay, so now remaining two keywords are there still. Throws and then throw. Those things I will explain you in my next session. Okay, so this is all about what? Handling the exceptions using try, catch, finally. Okay, thank you.